NBA players who were humiliated after trash-talking Michael Jordan. Imagine this. You're a player in the NBA playing against Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls. Your team is up by 10 near the end of the second quarter and getting ready for halftime when suddenly you hear one of your teammates yelling at someone. "You can't guard me! I thought you were the greatest! I got 10, you got 10, you got nothing on me!" You try to stop him, but it's too late. The horn sounds, the half ends, and you see Jordan give that look. You know in your gut what's gonna happen. You start the second half and it was all a blur. The Bulls win by 10. Jordan ends the night with 37 points on 16 for 30 field goal attempts. Your teammate? He ends the game with 12 points on 5 for 17 field goal attempts and was benched halfway through the fourth quarter.
Michael, get it pulled for the fresh shot clock. MJ. Oh, he did it! Michael shakes the finger.
This is an all too familiar scenario that happened to a host of NBA rookies, veterans, and Hall of Famers. But some people had to learn the hard way. Join us as we look at which players were humiliated after trash-talking the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan. Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller is one of the greatest shooters of all time and a Hall of Famer. However, did you know that in his rookie year in 1987, during an exhibition game of all places, he decided to trash-talk Michael Jordan with a little bit of encouragement from his teammate Chuck Person. In Reggie Miller's words, he said,
"Who do you think you are? The great Michael Jordan? That's right, there's a new kid on town."
Of course, what happens next is all too predictable. Jordan gave that look and shook his head at Miller. The first half ends with Reggie Miller having 10 points and Michael Jordan at 4 points. The second half comes and goes. Jordan has a magnificent performance, ending the game with 44 points. Miller, he ended the game with 12 points, being outscored 40-2. In a harsh lesson, Reggie Miller found out the hard way what happens when you talk trash to Michael Jordan. When the game was finished, Jordan gave one of the best responses as to what happens when you disrespect him like that. Jordan said,
"Be sure and be careful you never talk to Black Jesus like that."
Wow! Miller never talked smack to Jordan again after that. Earvin Magic Johnson. The Dream Team is probably the greatest group of players to have ever been assembled on a basketball court. They basically steamrolled the competition back in the 1992 Summer Olympics. However, in what's considered the greatest game nobody ever saw, Magic Johnson finally talked trash. One of the nicest guys on and off the court, but a fierce competitor. He had his own Hall of Fame team consisting of Drexler, Robinson, Malone, Mullen, and himself. On the other team, Jordan, Pippen, Barkley, Ewing, and Bird. Can you imagine the talent on display at that court? To think that Magic and Jordan were able to rise above it was amazing. However, even in the fiercest of competitors, Magic Johnson learned things the hard way. In the last game of a series of training camps while his team was up 12-2, Magic said, "If you don't turn into Air Jordan, we're gonna blow you out today." That's all Jordan needed to make it personal. As per Magic on Jordan's reaction, his eyes got big, his tongue was way out. Magic even stated he took off, hung in the air waiting for David Robinson to land, and managed to do a 360 dunk. Now that is legendary. Kevin Garnett. So far, all we've talked about were games with low stakes. This just goes to show you the drive Jordan had. Let's switch it up a bit on a regular season game. Kevin Garnett was a known trash talker. The guy who was once rumored to have said that Carmelo's wife tasted like Honey Nut Cheerios, since denied by all parties, which goes to show how far he'll go. Now on to the story. Please excuse us because there's going to be a lot of bleeps and you'll have to fill in the blanks. Garnett was hyping up his teammate, Isaiah J.R. Ryder, who was having a great game and within earshot of Jordan said, "Yo, keep killing that shit. You killing that shit. Straight up, you having a good game. Yo, keep going." Keep in mind, this was in Kevin's rookie year, back when he was just drafted out of high school in 1995. J.R. Ryder, a vet, knew better. This was all happening in the fourth quarter, and there was still a lot of time left. However, Kevin doubled down and kept on talking more trash to Jordan. In the meantime, J.R. Ryder went to Michael and had to explain to him that Kevin's just a rookie, he doesn't know the ropes yet. But it was too late. KG yelled out, "MJ on the back leg joint, he was leaning." And that's when Jordan was giving that look. The look that everyone knew, but didn't want to experience themselves. In Garnett's words, the experience the next 6 or 7 minutes were brutal. the Timberwolves experienced two 10-second violations and were all of a sudden down by 25 points. Afterwards, when Garnett and JR were on the bench, Kevin stated that Jordan would go by and mock them, saying things like, "Damn, y'all done? Damn!" From that point forward, Garnett knew never to talk smack to Jordan again. Derek Martin. The Vancouver Grizzlies in the 90s were an expansion team that was trying to get its footing. Needless to say, they were terrible. One fateful night, the Bulls were on a long road trip ending off in Vancouver. They were tired and ready to just go home. What many think will be the Bulls just going through the motions. In the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left and the Grizzlies up by 9, something funny happened, and one player felt particularly brave. Now keep in mind, this was in the 90s, before today's 3-point heavy, no hand check, and lower scoring games. A 9-point lead is as good as an 18-point lead in today's game in the same amount of time. Yeesh, even inflation is impacting the game. Anyways, Derek Martin gets a layup with the and one, and they get a comfortable lead. For some insane reason, Derek went right by the bench while Jordan was out of the game and said, "Told you we're gonna whip your ass tonight." I don't know why someone would say that to Jordan in the first place, but as per Derek, Phil Jackson looked down the bench and was like, "What are you gonna do?" to Michael Jordan. Now at this point, Jordan had his laces untied and was checked out. Jordan checked back in the game and went up to Derek Martin. In one of the more iconic pictures with the Vancouver Grizzlies, Jordan said, "Little man, I told you about talking trash to me." Once again, Jordan had taken it personally. He was ready to go home, and there's a possibility that the Bulls would have had only a 71-11 record that year with a loss to the Grizzlies. But history was made that day. For the Bulls, not the Grizzlies. In an unbelievable performance, Jordan had 15 points in the last 3 minutes, beating the Grizzlies 94-88. Derek has since stated that he trash talked to see the best in action. Let's be real, he poked the bear and got clawed. Greg Minor and Dikembe Mutombo. The next two stories are some of the funniest ones, which shows the disrespect Michael Jordan would give to players. Greg Minor played with the Celtics for 5 years until an injury sidelined his career forever in 1999. But Chauncey Billups recalled one of the funnier stories in his time with the Celtics during his rookie year. Opening night with both rookies wide-eyed and ready to play, Greg Minor was playing hard guarding Jordan. Why not, right? He's a rookie, so he wanted to make a statement on his first game. They ended up getting into a little scuffle, and some possible words were exchanged. Jordan goes to the free throw line and gets ready to shoot. Jordan looks at Greg and says, "I should make you take my shoes off." Wow, that is the ultimate in disrespect. Next one is a famous one. Dikembe didn't need to trash talk. He'd just wave his finger when he blocked you and you just had to take it. But in one historic moment, Michael went baseline with a pass from Bill Wennington and posterized Dikembe. Just to make sure Jordan knew he got the upper hand, he gave the finger wave back to Mutombo for good measure. To his credit, Dikembe did say it took Jordan about 7 years to dunk on him, and he's a Hall of Fame player for blocking shots. But nonetheless, even the best will get to you, and you'll be immortalized for the wrong reason.